Hello everyone, and welcome to Anomalous Archive, where we post scary stories to help you sleep. Please comment where you are listening to my videos from, since I believe it would be fun for all of us to know. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's reach 50 subscribers until the end of this month. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. My life flowed steadily and calmly. But studying, let's say, didn't always bring joy. Still, I was fairly content. I spent most of my free time at home. Games, sweets, fast food, a typical nerdy life in short. And my friends were the same. We rarely went out and mostly communicated online or while playing games. One of my friends, Simon, recently interrupted me while I was watching a new episode of a series. I was engrossed in an action scene when his notifications started popping up one after another. Peter, open the link. How does this Iggy work? He knows everything, even the future. Everything he predicted for me came true. I paused the series with growing irritation and opened the chat. The link looked suspicious, as did all these hysterical messages. Was it really Simon? Or had his account been hacked? I decided to call and confirm if it was him messaging me or if someone was trying to hijack my account. My friend answered only after several minutes of persistent calling. Yeah, his voice sounded hoarse and strained. Hi Simon, looks like you've been hacked. I got some weird link from you, I said. Simon tortured me with silence. On the line, I could only hear heavy, labored breathing. Are you snoring or what? Do you hear what I'm saying? His sluggishness annoyed me. I wanted to deal with this quickly and return to my episode. I wasn't hacked. I sent it to you. Go to the site, you'll freak out. He said quickly and hung up. Is he crazy or something? He's acting so weird, didn't explain anything, I thought, staring at the screen. Alright, let's see what's so amazing there. I clicked on the link. A very basic website opened in the browser. No ad banners, no pictures, just a white screen with black text. Prove your worth. Take the test. And a blue button labeled start. Prove I'm worthy of what? Wasting my precious time on nonsense? On the other hand, it's intriguing. Okay, let's go. I muttered to myself and clicked the button. The screen flickered, and the first question appeared. What is your name? Answer honestly. I typed Peter, deciding not to provide any personal information beyond a shortened version of my name. The screen flickered again, and the next question appeared. Choose one color you like the most. Below were three options: black, blue, purple. I chose blue randomly. What's the difference? The questions came one after another. At first, they were simple, meaningless things that could have been asked to a 5-year-old. But then the weirdness began. For instance, the site asked me the following. If you had to choose a way to die, which would you pick for yourself or a friend? I typed into the blank field, not to die, but the text immediately disappeared as if it had been erased. Then I wrote, dying in sleep, thinking at least that would be easy, painless, and not scary. But it started to feel unpleasant. I didn't want to think about such things. The next question. Imagine you know for sure that your friend will die tomorrow, but you have the option to share some of your years of life with them. Will you do it or let them die? Answer options. Share my years or let them die. I chose the first option without thinking deeply about the meaning. But the next question required clarification. How many years will you give them? Below was a field to enter a number. Now I really started to think, how many years can you sacrifice for a friend? If only I knew how many years I had left. If I'll live to 100, then I wouldn't mind giving 20 years. But what if I'm living my last year now? Die for a friend. Literally. Is that right? Helping at your own expense? In the end, I entered 0 in the field and clicked next. I was curious what results would come after completing the test. Obviously, it was like those quizzes that tell you what vegetable you are or which character you resemble. Then the site presented a new, even more absurd scenario. Imagine your exact double breaks into your home and tries to kill you, but you are stronger and manage to kill them instead. Will you call the police or try to dispose of the body yourself? The answer options were call the police or dismember the body and dispose of it. I caught myself thinking about what nonsense I was doing. What kind of crap am I reading? Why am I even imagining this? What ridiculous, borderline insane stuff. If this is a joke, it's a terribly long one. That's it. I'd had enough fun. I was done. I closed the tab without hesitation and went back to watching my series, deciding never to fall for Simon's suggestions again. I didn't get the chance because the next day he died. I received a message from his younger sister, Alice. Hi, Peter. I'm writing to you because Simon considered you his friend. He passed away last night. The funeral will be on Sunday. What? I stared at the phone screen for a long time, rereading the message over and over, hoping I misunderstood. But there was no other meaning. I bombarded the girl with messages. My fingers flew over the letters on their own. Simon died? How? Why? Is this a joke? Alice replied, would I joke about something like that? I don't know why. The autopsy hasn't been done yet. This morning we went into his room, and he was dead. He died in his sleep. I typed, staring at the screen and trembling with anticipation. I didn't even know why it felt so important. The reply came. How would I know? Probably. I'm not in the right state to answer questions now. I just told you so you'd know. I'm still in shock myself. My body shook, as if someone had poured ice water over me. The phone slipped out of my hands. Simon was dead. Dead. Yes. I'd known him since first grade. And now, just like that, he was gone. It was impossible to believe. Just a few hours ago, I had been talking to him. Yesterday, he'd been acting so strangely. He sent me a link to some silly website and said it could predict the future. And that test, those eerie questions. Are you sure you know that tomorrow your friend will die? I chose death and sleep as the preferred way to go. What does all of this mean? Someone's stupid prank? Could it really be real? A horrifying coincidence? I caught my breath, picked up my phone, and opened my last conversation with Simon. I reread every message several times. How does this AI work? It knows everything, even the future. Everything it predicted for me came true. Simon wrote that seriously. I clicked the link again, expecting to see the same questions, but instead, a message appeared on the smartphone screen. Congratulations, Peter. You have successfully completed the test. Wait, yesterday, I visited the site on my computer and didn't log in. Now I accessed it from a different device, and it seemed to recognize me. What kind of new feature is this? Then the screen cleared, and 3 blue buttons appeared with labels. Predictions, wishes, ask the engineer. You need to choose. What kind of engineer? The site developer? And what would I even ask him? A wish. I'd seen enough movie and TV plots to know this always leads to disaster for the person making the wish. A prediction. That felt risky too, but I had to test this thing. I tapped the predictions button. The screen flickered, and a message appeared. The gray hoodie has been found. What? Gray hoodie? What is this even about? I thought, what a lame prophecy. Predictions like this are easy to make and easy to fulfill. Surely everyone has a gray hoodie lying around. I have one too, somewhere in the closet. I'll just open it, find it, and the prediction will come true. No big mystery. This is just a silly site with a random answer generator. As for Simon's death, it must be a coincidence. I went to the closet and opened the door. Somewhere in there should be my favorite gray hoodie with the AIM evil print. Where did it go? I started rummaging through the closet, dumping half the clothes onto the floor, checking shelves, hangers, nothing. For some reason, I felt an urgent need to find that hoodie. The shock of the terrible news had made me obsessive. Maybe it's in the laundry. I went to the bathroom, emptied the laundry basket. No hoodie. I thought hard. When did I last see it? But then I brushed it off. My friend had died. That's what really mattered now. I went back to my room, sat on the bed, and buried my head in my hands. What a mess. The next morning, Alice, my late friend's sister, texted me again. Hi. I assumed she was going to share details about the funeral. Instead, a photo came through. It showed my gray hoodie with the AIM evil print. My eyes widened. What? How? I'm sorting through Simon's things. Isn't this your hoodie? It was hanging in his closet, Alice wrote. And then I remembered. Back in August, when I'd visited Simon, it had been hot. I took the hoodie off and tossed it somewhere, then apparently forgot about it and left without it. It was strange that Simon never mentioned it later. Did he just claim it as his own? But what's the point of being mad at someone who's gone? And yet, the prediction came true. The gray hoodie had been found. So, the site works. This was getting truly weird. At that moment, a new notification popped up, a follow-up message from Alice. Peter, do you happen to know where Simon got all these expensive things? What things? I replied, my fingers trembling slightly. Well, there's a console, a drone, a phone. Everything brand new, in boxes. Are they his? Where did he get them? Alice asked. No idea, I wrote back. But immediately, I thought of that strange website and the wishes button. Could it be that Simon wished for all this cool stuff, and it came true? Yet he didn't even get a chance to use it. That cursed site. For some reason, I felt compelled to check if the site was still working. Could it have all been a nightmare? I reopened the tab from yesterday. The site was still there. The 3 action options remained, but the predictions button had turned gray, as if it were now disabled. The other buttons, wishes and ask the engineer, were still blue. I decided I wouldn't ask for anything. Better not risk it. But as they say, asking doesn't hurt. I just wanted to find out what happened to my friend. I clicked on Ask the Engineer. A chat window opened on the screen, something resembling technical support. Engineer, good morning, Peter. You have only one question. Ask anything you want, and I'll answer. What should I ask? Who are you? Or was it you who killed Simon? No, better not to accuse, I thought and typed. Why did my friend die? The response came instantly. Engineer, it was predestined for him, and you yourself didn't want to share your time with him. Want to fix this? Then make a wish, but only tomorrow. Today, the limit is exhausted. Have a good day. Thoughts swirled in my head. Predestined? I didn't want to share my time? This can be fixed? No, I'll never go back to this site. I won't even think about it again. I got out of bed, throwing my phone onto the mattress. Half the day passed under the weight of heavy thoughts. I kept thinking about my friend, about how I would never see him again. I hadn't known the feeling of emptiness that settles in the soul when someone dies. But by the evening, I managed to distract myself by diving into computer games. I had to accept that Simon was gone. People die, it happens. Soon I'd have to say goodbye to him for good and move on. That bitter thought spun in my head all day, but slowly began to release its grip. As I tapped on the keyboard, controlling my character, reality pulled my attention away. The next morning, something unpleasant happened. I picked up my phone. On the screen was a cheerful message from Alice. The funeral is tomorrow at 12 o'clock. If you're coming, meet at the main gate of the city cemetery. I replied, of course I'll be there. And then a sinister website tab opened on its own. Now only the wish button remained blue. The others had turned gray. I was frightened, but not surprised. It had even predicted this might happen. Once again, schooled by movie and TV plots, I knew that evil doesn't let go of someone too quickly. Ignoring this supernatural nightmare seemed the safest and most rational choice. I turned off the phone and tossed it into my desk drawer. Let it stay there. All these paranormal games aren't for me. I prefer a normal, quiet life. I got into bed, hoping that tomorrow would go more or less calmly. I had just fallen asleep when the noise of the computer fans woke me. It had turned on by itself in the middle of the night. I sat up in bed, the bright light of the monitor hitting my eyes. What the hell? On the white screen hung 3 buttons. Predictions, wishes, asked the engineer. Panic gripped me, and I jumped out of bed. What kind of horrible game is this? I don't need anything, I whispered, approaching the computer and reaching for the power button to turn it off. But suddenly text flared up on the monitor. Don't even think about it. Then an even larger message. Turn it off, and it will be bad. I froze, my trembling hand hovering just above the glowing button. The sight was threatening me. A new bold message appeared on the screen. Choose a wish. I realized I was a hostage to this and had no way out. A thought rushed through my mind. Fine, I'll give it an impossible task and see what it does. I sat at the computer, cracked my knuckles, and clicked on the only blue button. The screen flickered. A text field appeared in front of me. I typed, "Let Simon come back to life. Send." The screen flickered again, and new text appeared. Price of the wish. How many years are you willing to give your friend? Below was a small field for numbers. Shaking with both fear and hope, I typed the number 1. Not too much and not too little. If Simon could live another year, that would be great. It wasn't about how long. It was about how. Send. The screen went dark. The computer shut down and fell silent. I sat in the dark, trying to grasp the possible consequences. Outside, rain poured, and thunder rumbled in the distance. What now? I took the phone out of the desk drawer and turned it on to try calling someone, to see if the wish had worked. But it felt too scary. Besides, there was no way he'd have a phone with him during the autopsy. Better to leave it alone. I tossed the phone onto the desk, crawled back into bed, and curled up under the blanket. The next morning, my heart nearly stopped when the phone rang. I woke up and ran to the desk. Alice. What did she want? Yes? I answered fearfully. Peter, the funeral is off today. Her voice was broken with sobs. What? Why? I pulled at my hair, unable to cope with the panic. Because Simon was lost in the morgue, yelled Alice, her voice breaking into hysteria. Lost? How? I asked, pacing nervous circles around the room. That's just it. I don't know how. They called us and said the body disappeared. To them, Simon is just a body, and they lost it. Mom hasn't stopped crying and can't do anything. And I'm about to go insane. The girl sobbed into the phone. I was silent. My thoughts were in chaos. His experiment, what if it worked? What if Simon came back to life? Maybe he just ran off and is heading home right now. This thought, piercing through the horror and confusion, gave me a glimmer of hope. What if a miracle had happened? Through the receiver, Alice's inconsolable sobbing continued. Simon, we have to find him. I dressed hastily and rushed outside. The rain had stopped, but everything was damp, muddy, and wet. Simon, where do I even start looking for you? Where would you go? Where would I go if I woke up in a morgue? Home, of course, to let my family know I wasn't dead. I need to meet him. I ran to Simon's house on the next street over. The courtyard was empty and silent. A stray dog gnawed on a bone in the bushes, growling softly. Water trickled, then gushed from a drain pipe. I fidgeted with my jacket pockets nervously. Where are you, friend? What if he'd already come back and we'd missed each other? I approached the entrance and dialed his apartment number on the intercom. Who is it? A tearful voice came from the speaker. It sounded like his mother. Hello. Has Simon come home yet? I blurted without thinking. What? Who is this? Are you mocking us? The woman shouted angrily. I backed away, pulled up my hood, and dashed off before they could see me through the window. Where could you have gone, Simon? Where? I decided not to go home until I found my friend and spent the whole day wandering the city. I visited all the places we used to hang out, the shawarma food truck, the mall, the park. He was nowhere. Night began to fall, and the street lights lit up, casting their glow over the wet sidewalks. I started to feel betrayed. My hope had been a lie. What a fool I was to believe that a dead man could suddenly come back to life because of some creepy artificial intelligence. The rain started again. My hood was soaked in moments. Shivering from the cold, I trudged back home, feeling dejected. I walked into my courtyard and was heading toward the entrance when, groaned, someone muttered from the shadows. Under the dripping linden trees stood a figure. I didn't pay them any mind and kept walking, lost in my thoughts. Groaned, they repeated. Simon? I turned around. My heart leapt with hope. Simon. It was him. He stood beneath the trees, his head slightly bowed, wearing a soaking wet black suit and white shirt. I wanted to run to him, grab him by the shoulders, and hug him, but a strange chemical smell stopped me in my tracks. A lifeless smell. Simon, are you okay? I asked, stopping a few meters away. He lowered his jaw, but his lips remained tightly shut. His mouth was sewn shut. Simon raised his head, and I saw his eyes. Dead, cloudy, empty. His skin was a pale blue. What the? My friend had risen, but he hadn't come back to life. He was a walking corpse, acting accordingly, stretching out pale arms and stepping toward me slowly. A zombie. He's a damn zombie. I bolted toward the entrance, flung open the door, and ran up to my apartment without looking back. I burst into my room, clutching my chest. My lungs burned. My breath was ragged. Adrenaline surged through my veins. The computer was on. The same website with the 3 buttons was still there. Again, I sat at the keyboard, wanting to choose the chat option to beg for mercy, to say I didn't want to play this horrifying game anymore. But the Ask the Engineer button was grayed out. Only prediction remained, glowing blue. One day, one function. Got it. I just need to survive another day. And tomorrow I'll try to contact the developer or whoever they are. Fine. I had to pull myself together and see what the prediction was. I clicked the button. A message appeared on the screen. Piranhas bite painfully. What piranhas? There aren't any around here. But I'd better stay away from aquariums with exotic fish. We don't have an oceanarium in the city, just pet stores. I won't set foot in one. No one excused me from classes. So in the morning, I had to leave the house. I trudged through the streets, scanning my surroundings. Was Simon's corpse lurking nearby? I really didn't want to run into him again. Exiting the courtyard, I looked anywhere but down. And then I slipped and flew into the storm drain, into the cold, murky water. It immediately frothed around me. Something sharp pierced my hand and legs. I screamed from the sudden pain. These were piranhas. Predatory fish sank their teeth into me, tearing at my clothes and skin, biting off tiny pieces of flesh. I scrambled out of the ditch, leaving my backpack behind, and ran back home. My clothes were full of small holes and covered in blood. Seriously, where did piranhas come from in a storm drain? Though, should I really have been surprised? This cursed sight can alter reality however it pleases. It kills people in their sleep and resurrects the dead. Why wouldn't it conjure fish in the water? Finally, I was able to select a question for the engineer and open the chat. My fingers were trembling as I typed. How do I stop this game? The response from some engineer came instantly, just like last time. Stop the game? Peter? Aren't we having fun? Fine, then find me someone more interesting. Send this invitation link to one of your friends, and consider us done. A link appeared below the message. So that's how it was. He suggested I find a new victim to replace myself. To betray someone, just like Simon had betrayed me. I didn't want to do it. I needed another way, and I came up with one. The wish button, it was next in line. I just had to wait until tomorrow. I spent an entire day in my room, pacing back and forth, lying down but not sleeping, watching for the moment when the button would appear on the screen. And it finally happened. I sat at the computer, clicked the mouse, and typed into the text field. I wish for this site to be destroyed. Send. They made me wait on purpose. dragging out the loading process for an entire minute. Then text appeared on the screen. The price of the wish is your life. Are you ready to pay? Answer options, yes or no. So, what was there to choose? Send the link to one of my friends, which wouldn't guarantee survival, but would offer a faint glimmer of hope. And this hell would continue for someone else. Or sacrifice my life so that no one would ever suffer again.